Welcome to the deep dive. This is the show that's, built for you. We take that stack of sources you send us.
The really dense ones.
Exactly. The dense research, the complex articles, and we pull out the essential jargon-free insights. The whole mission is to give you that shortcut to being instantly well-informed. And today we are tackling a big one, something that is, well, it's changing everything, but for a lot of people, it still feels a bit like science fiction. Artificial intelligence.
It moves so fast.
It moves so fast, and it can feel like this mystery box, Like you need an engineering degree just to figure out what your phone is doing, let alone your bank or your car.
And that feeling, that complexity, that's exactly what we're here to dismantle today. We got a fantastic guide for this deep dive. It's titled, What is Artificial Intelligence? A Beginner's Guide for Adults, 45 Plus, 2026 edition.
Great title.
It is. And our mission is simple. We're stripping away the jargon to show that AI, it's not some futuristic threat. It's really just a collection of quiet, practical helpers that are already working in your life. We want you to walk away feeling confident enough to use it and, importantly, to control it.
That distinction is so key. Because when we say AI, I think a lot of people still picture, the Terminator.
Right.
But you're using it every single day. It's what opens your phone with Face Unlock. It's that banking alert that, stops a fraudulent charge. Or maybe it's the Maps app that suggests a better route before you even hit the traffic jam. That's not sci-fi.
No, it's just efficient technology.
Just quiet, efficient tech. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
So to ground this whole conversation, let's start with the absolute basics. In plain English, what exactly is artificial intelligence?
At its core, it's just software. It's software that's designed to mimic certain parts of how we think. So that means it can learn from examples, it can spot patterns.
Patterns in huge amounts of data.
Right? Huge amounts. Data that no human could ever process. And then it uses those patterns to make a prediction or, a decision. But the real shift, the thing that makes AI different from, say, the technology of the last few decades, is its ability to adapt.
Okay.
There's a really simple rule to remember here. Automation repeats, AI improves.
That's a great distinction. Can you give us an example of how that plays out?
Sure. Think about a regular calculator, a classic piece of tech. It does its job perfectly every time. 2 + 2 is always 4. It just repeats.
Never gets smarter.
Never gets smarter. Now, think about your email spam filter. When you first got that email address, it was probably terrible. A lot of junk got through.
Oh, yeah.
But over time, it watches what you manually mark as junk. It learns from your behavior, it adapts, it sees new patterns in suspicious links or sender addresses, and it gets better. That learning process, that's the heart of AI.
So the adaptation is the game changer. And because it adapts, it can do all those little tailored things the source material mentions. It's why your voice assistant can figure out a vague reminder like, remind me at 3 p.m. to call mom.
Exactly. Or why your streaming service just happens to suggest the perfect movie for a Friday night.
Right. Now, here's a big hurdle I hear about all the time. This fear that you need to understand, like calculus or computer science, to use these tools safely. Is that true?
No, absolutely not. And the source uses a perfect analogy here. You can drive a car your whole life and drive it very safely without ever understanding the internal combustion engine.
You just need to know the dashboard lights.
You just need to know the simple cues, the rules of the road. And with AI, the rules of the road are just things like learning how to check your privacy settings. And critically, that confidence doesn't come from reading a manual. It comes from actually trying it. A poll on healthy aging from 2025 found a really clear trend. Adults who have actually tried AI tools, even simple ones, are way more confident than those who haven't. Confidence follows familiarity.
That's really reassuring. So we know it's learning software that improves. But let's, indulge our curiosity for a second and look under the hood. How does this learning actually happen? Here's where it gets really interesting.
The best way to visualize it is with an analogy of nested dolls. The Russian dolls.
Okay.
The biggest, outermost doll is artificial intelligence. That's the whole broad goal, getting machines to do things that normally need human thinking.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, inside that doll, you have machine learning, or ML. This is the engine that makes it all work. It's a system where algorithms learn from huge amounts of examples, what we call training data, instead of being programmed with rigid rules.
So it's the difference between telling a kid a cat has 4 legs and fur versus just showing them 1,000 pictures of cats.
That's a perfect way to put it. They figure out the catness for themselves.
Okay, so machine learning is learning by example. But the sources talk about an even smaller doll inside that one, deep learning. What does that do?
Deep learning, or DL, is kind of the cutting edge that you're using every day. It's the smallest doll, but it's the most powerful because it handles the really messy, complex data. Things like images, speech, video.
And it does that with something called neural networks.
Right, think of a neural network like a really specialized kitchen, like a pizzeria. An order comes in, that's the data, maybe you speaking a command. The host takes the order, that's the input. Then it goes to a prep station that shapes the dough. That's a layer extracting key features like your tone of voice. Then the oven bakes it. That's the final prediction.
And each station gets better with practice.
Each station learns from feedback until the final pizza is consistently right, even if the order was a little messy to begin with.
I like that. And the fuel for this whole kitchen, the main ingredient, is what you called training data. That's why the spam filter works. It was trained on thousands of emails that humans already labeled spam or not spam.
Precisely. And deep learning is what makes those really amazing things possible. It's why your phone can recognize your specific dog in a photo, or why a voice assistant understands a complex command like call Anna at 3. It's mapping those raw pixels or sound waves to actual meaning.
Which brings us right back to the biggest question we hear: privacy. If these things are learning all the time, does that mean we have to feed them a constant stream of our private data?
That is the crucial question. And the answer is, for the most part, pretty reassuring because of two big factors. First, a lot of the really personal stuff, like your face map for unlocking your phone or your voice profile, is often processed and stored right there on your device.
It doesn't go to the cloud.
Exactly. It's called on-device processing. The data never leaves your phone. Second, the big AI models are usually trained on massive anonymous data sets, not your personal info. And the research, like from Pew in 2025, shows that people are demanding transparency and choice. Good companies are responding to that pressure.
So if we trace the history, we went from these rigid rule-based systems in the 50s and 70s to these flexible learning systems we have now. And the 2020s really became the era of the daily helper.
That's right. And if we connect this to the bigger picture for, say, adults 45 and up, the benefits really boil down to three key areas: saving time, improving safety, and supporting independence.
Let's get into the numbers on that, because that's where it gets real. You mentioned time.
Yes. The St. Louis Fed found in 2025 that workers using generative AI, for drafting emails or summarizing long reports, saved on average about 5.4% of their work hours.
Which sounds small, but in a 40-hour week,
It's about 2 hours, 2 full hours handed back to you.
that's huge. That's 2 hours you're not spending on tedious digital tasks. It really cuts down on the mental load.
It does. And then you have safety. The scale of financial fraud is just massive. We're talking over $10 billion in losses in 2023 alone. Humans just can't keep up.
And that's where the AI defense comes in.
It does the heavy lifting. These AI systems can spot a tiny anomaly, a purchase pattern that's just slightly off for you, and stop the damage in milliseconds. Your banking app is basically a digital bodyguard now.
And the third area, independence. I think this is the one that really hits home for a lot of people.
It's maybe the most powerful application because it helps people age in place on their own terms. We're now seeing AI models connected to wearable sensors that can detect and classify fall patterns with around 83% sensitivity.
83%.
Mm.
That's remarkable. But how does it do that without being, invasive?
Well, it's not just looking for the fall itself, it's learning your normal patterns, your gait, how you move around your home. If there's a sudden sharp change in that pattern, followed by, say, an abrupt stop, the system correlates those things. It's predictive and responsive without being a camera watching you all day. It's a safety net.
And it comes back to that central idea. People want the convenience, they want the safety, but they have to have the control. The choice has to remain with the user.
Always.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about the emotional barriers, because we hear them all the time. I'm too old for this, or privacy is dead, and of course, the robots are taking over. Let's put on our skeptic hats and debunk some of these myths.
Let's do it. So, first, the economic fear. Myth 1. AI is going to take all the jobs.
The classic panic.
It is, but the reality, and the data supports this, is that AI handles the repetitive tasks. It's great at summarizing and sorting. Humans are still essential for judgment, for creativity, for managing relationships. It's a tool to boost productivity, not a replacement for people.
What about the feeling that AI is just a big, mysterious black box?
Yeah.
You get a result, but you have no idea how it got there.
That myth is actually starting to crumble, mainly because of regulatory pressure. Explainability is becoming a requirement. Big organizations are now demanding that these systems provide a simple, human-readable summary of why a decision was made.
So if your insurance claim is flagged, it has to tell you why.
It has to give you a reason. You should look for tools that offer that why summary. And then there's the big one from the movies. The myth that AI is sentient, that it's self-aware.
Right. Is my spam filter secretly plotting world domination?
A slight laugh. Not quite. I mean, these systems are incredibly sophisticated pattern matchers. They find correlations in billions of data points and then make a statistical guess. They're very smart calculators, fast, useful, but still inanimate objects.
And they can be wrong.
And they can be wrong, which is why you still need that human common sense. If your GPS tells you to drive into a lake, you don't do it. You still need to apply your own judgment.
So delegate the busy work, not your judgment.
That's the mantra. And finally, this feeling that privacy is hopeless, that we've already lost the battle.
That one feels very real to a lot of people.
It does, but it's a destructive myth because it leads to inaction. You still have real control. As we said, a lot of personal data is processed on device. The single best habit you can build is just this. Once a month, open settings on your phone, go to privacy, and just spend 5 minutes reviewing what's being collected. Turn off anything you don't like.
That's so simple and actionable. Okay, so for anyone listening who wants to start building that confidence, let's give them 3 concrete steps they can take today.
Sounds good.
Step 1, just pick one tiny low-stakes thing and try it for a week. Ask your voice assistant to manage your grocery list. Have it summarize a boring newsletter. Or just use your photo app to search for all the pictures of your dog. Just try it.
And step 2, commit to that 5-minute privacy tune-up we just talked about. Go into your settings, review your app permissions, and look for any option that says on-device processing. That keeps you in control.
And step 3, add some safety rails, especially against the new risks. Keep your bank's fraud alerts turned on. Let the AI do that work. But be extra skeptical of any urgent call or message asking for money, even if it sounds like a relative. Voice cloning is a real thing, so just call them back on a number you know is theirs.
Good advice.
So, what does this all mean? Our deep dive really confirms that AI isn't this scary, complex thing to be afraid of. It's a set of supportive, accessible tools. It's here to remove busy work, to strengthen your safety nets, and ultimately to support your independence. And all of that happens while you stay firmly in charge.
Exactly. Don't wait to feel like an expert. Just start small, check your privacy settings, and let the tools prove they can be useful. The poll we mentioned was so clear. Confidence comes from small, successful, first-hand experience.
It really does. So for your reflection this week, maybe ask yourself, what privacy setting did you turn off that gave you a little peace of mind? And what's one small, annoying task you're going to hand off next week?
Great questions.
Take those steps to build your confidence and gain time back. Learn more at radosimplia.com.